annoyingly metaphoric and abstracted, but it's where I draw my guidance, really. So people often, especially in our field and the work we do, where we talk about, regeneration and ecosystem restoration, or like this really advanced kind of sustainability. People talk about network weaving, and I appreciate the comment if I interpret it sort of bringing things together, creating structure and form where it wouldn't have been. And where that's coming from, for those who've woven, they would recognize that weaving has a warp and a weft. So you've got threads running perpendicular to one another, over, under. So they create this structure that wouldn't otherwise be there. And I totally respect that. However, as a spinner, and a spinner first before a weaver, I feel like we want to take a closer look at spinning. And I did a bit of writing on this on my blog. And it's funny, it's like, what people don't realize is it's actually quite subversive and provocative. It's the least looked at blog post, because I think it's so subversive. Not that my blog is a very quiet corner of the internet, but this is so subversive that people can't see it. And I think what needs to happen is people need to see this. So what is this? There's nothing to weave if you don't have yarn. Right? So weaving, we talk about, we bring things together, we create structure. Well, those things have to exist. That yarn has to exist, or those other things that are being woven, the people, the structures, the organizations. And spinning is how those things come to exist. So spinning is literally taking fiber, whether it's that, good bamboo fiber, that good cotton fiber, that good recycled polyester, PET bottles, sheep's wool, goat's wool, rabbit fur, you name it. Fiber that has no integrity whatsoever. No integrity at all. I have some here. It's not useful for those just listening, but anybody who can see, this is a little bit of cotton that I grew on my windowsill in New York City, and it's cotton. It's got no integrity whatsoever, just like the fiber in your, I don't know, in a pill bottle or on the end of a Q-tip. No integrity. You cannot do much with this. You could use it for stuffing, I guess. You could, I don't know, polish something. Yeah. But when you spin it, when you put twist in it, and it is the simplest form of energy, it's just a little bit of twist, and twist is a form of energy, like heat or pressure. You have thread, and thread has integrity. So you go from something with no integrity at all that isn't even noticed. It looks literally like fluff. It is dismissed as fluff. You take it and you create something that can have the strength of steel. Silk is stronger than steel, pound for pound, when spun. So you take something that has no integrity and you give it integrity, and then you have the ingredients to create structure, to weave. And so what I mean by that isn't just like, there are spinners too. And by the way, and those who know me well will know I've made this comment probably ad nauseum, but Donella Meadows, systems thinker extraordinaire, whom many of us revere her work and turn to it again and again. She was a spinner. She was a hand spinner. And I don't think that's coincidence. I think spinning teaches integrity because it's required in order to happen. In a very tactical way, kind of like I said, migratory birds don't need language and trees don't need language. They're able to do what they need to do. Spinning doesn't need language. It just is. And there's a lot of things like that. Gardening, you could go to a lot of very basic things and say, we could use words to describe it, but they are the teacher. So what do we do about it? I feel like I would like to help recognize and make recognizable those things going from fluff that has no integrity to something with some strength and integrity that's ready to contribute to a structure. Whether that is an educational module or an organization or just an idea. And I feel like it's the spinning, it's the taking the emergent fluff that is all around us all the time, literally, and giving it enough structure to be useful. And so I'm constantly watching for, where do I see that? And I'll give a concrete example that I see that gives me great hope, where I look very nearby to here. There's a number of Mohawk communities that are still, in spite of everything we've wrought, They are not only resilient, but in some cases they're examples of thriving and really amazing things happening. And I see new language apprenticeship happening where the youth in, so I'm very fortunate to have a couple friends in one of the nearby communities here, and they run a farm, and it's just the most amazing farm. I mean, they wouldn't call it regenerative, but it is. I mean, they've in 5 years they've radically restored a piece of land, and what they grow is just amazing. And how they grow lots of stuff integrated. And most of the people who help them out on the farm are Mohawk youth, and a lot of what happens there is in their own language, and a lot of teaching that happens around like skills that are, as I said, if you want to know how to do anything, ask a farmer. These guys know how to do it. They're learning how to do more. And look at that, and that's just this like little bit of fluff, right? It's these like connections of language coming back together. It's connections of skill and awareness, connection to the soil, connection to the past, to the present, to the future. And it goes widely unnoticed. There isn't a website, there isn't a, a not-for-profit charitable number that you can make a donation to. It's just happening. And in its happening, it is creating the ability for something that has integrity to be connected to more of a structure. So I feel like how we do that, I don't know what it means to the next big construction project in Montreal. I don't know. That's beyond my intellectual ken at the moment. I can dream about that. But in real life today now, I don't have to dream. I can actually see with my own eyes these amazing elements of fluff coming together to make real yarn that can be really woven into something that matters.